Welcome to yet another episode of MoveUp's Learners Apps. In this episode, we are going to see how to create a simple apple pie app that looks like a hangman. This is part of the app development book provided by Apple from the Everyone Can Code series. So this is a guided project in the book, App Development with Swift. And this basically is a hangman game. It's an iPad app, which is like a hangman game. You basically have to guess the letters of a word that the system provides. And if you get the words right, letters right, and the word is guessed correctly, you win. Otherwise, you lose all the apples, and it's the equivalent of the hangman game that you've seen. As a first step, let's do the UI layout. Let's develop the UI and see how it goes. Quite a complicated UI, as you can see. There are tons of widgets here, including the images, and this image has to change every time you enter the letter in case the number of apples have to reduce. It's quite complicated. So let's see how to go about doing this. Open Xcode. Create a new project with Xcode project. A single view app. And let's call it apple pie. And you can leave the organization identifier. You have to provide an organization identifier. Let's, for the sake, let's do it in.moveup. Next, and save it on the desktop for now. The first thing we need to do now is go to the main.storyboard. And by default, you'll see that the main.storyboard is an iPhone application. We have to change that to an iPad application. So this has to change. Let's make it a iPad Pro 11-inch. And let's size it so that we can work along with it. Let's hide the view hierarchy so that you can see the window completely. And now we have to start working on this. Now the first thing we need to do, as always, is add a stack view. Let's go for a vertical stack view because we see three vertical stacks here. One is the image picture, second is the alphabets, and third could be a third stack view or it could be part of the existing stack view, which is the label that shows whether you're correct or not. So we've added a stack view, and to this stack view, let's set some constraints. Let's connect it to all four sides of the view. So 0, 0, 0, 0 on all four sides, which will stretch it to the max. So here the stack view is now stretched to the max. Let's open the view hierarchy again just to show you how this works. We have got a view and we got a stack view inside that. The next step is to add an image. Command Shift L, and let's add an image to it. Click on the stack view and make sure that the parameters are correct. Alignment is fill, distribution is fill, and spacing is 0 is fine for now. So let's go ahead and do it. Now we have to put an image here. If you select the image view, you can see the list of images that we've already selected. Right now we don't have any images that we have added to the project. These are all by default provided by Apple. Let's try to select the image here for the image view. These are the images that are provided by Apple. We have not added any image to the project. Let's see how to add the images to the projects. Assets.xassets contains all the image assets that you're going to add. And for our sake, let's try to take something from the student resources folder. The student resources folder is provided in the book. If you go to the start of the lesson, if you go to around page number 5, you have the download student materials. And this provides you this folder that we are talking about here. So this gives you the student resources. This contains all the assets that we require for the Apple Pie class. Now, Unit 2, lesson guided project Apple Pie. And here we have all the images that we require for the Apple Pie class. Now let's go to Xcode. We got to drop it into the XeAssets folder. Let's resize this a little bit so that we can drag drop the images. Drag these images and drop them into the app icon. There you go. Now let's maximize the Xcode window. Got all the images. And if you see, this is a bunch of images of the tree with no fruit, one fruit, two fruits, three fruits, and so on till six fruits, seven fruits. So now with that in place, let's go to the main storyboard and fill this with seven fruit image. Right? Let's call it tree 7. Right? There you go. Now you have the image ready, done. Now the second step is to add the buttons. To add the buttons, if you notice, the buttons are another set of this UI is quite complicated with a lot of elements. First, we added a vertical stack, which is basically elements added one on top of another. Now we have to add another vertical stack and a horizontal stack within that. A, B, C, D, E, F is basically one element of a vertical stack, which is A, F, K, P. And within that vertical stack, one element is A, B, C, D, E. And to place A, B, C, D, E, we place it in another horizontal stack inside the vertical stack. We'll see how to do it shortly. So this is the view hierarchy again. We have a vertical stack, and inside that, let's put a horizontal stack. And before we do that, let's go to the horizontal stack and let's make sure that our alignments are all right. So let's have distribution is fill equally, so that when we add more elements, the tree shouldn't take a lot more size than it should. The tree should be approximately half the size, and the rest of the keyboard should be half the size. So Control Shift L, and let's open up a stack view. Now we immediately want a vertical stack view, and within the vertical stack view, we need a horizontal stack view. So let's drag drop. You can drag drop it into the view hierarchy directly. Here we go, and within this horizontal stack view, let's add a button. And we are nearing the easier part of the exercise. So far is difficult, but now it's going to be easier. The button should be under the horizontal stack view. And let's rename this button as A. Now we need 5 letters in the first stack, 5 in the second, 5 in the third, and 5 in the fourth, and 6 in the last. That makes it 26. So let's go ahead and add 5 buttons. All you have to do is click on this view hierarchy, click on the A button in the view hierarchy, copy it, Command C and Command V 4 times. 5. Yeah, there you go. And go here. Now you see that these buttons are not evenly placed. That's because this was a horizontal stack view. We did not do a fill equally. So let's do a fill equally right here. And now you see that the buttons are all filled equally, equal width from each other. Now let's click on each of these buttons and change the letters. A, B. So now we have these 5 letters. Now we just have to copy the stack view and copy it 5 times over. Control C, Control V. And there you go. Again, you have another stack view which is unevenly arranged. The first element takes up lots of space, and the second, third, fourth elements take up lesser space. How many stacks do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 5, so we'll add one more. Then go to the parent stack view and do the distribution fill equally. And there you go. You have 5 buttons that now look like proper buttons. Now that we are done here, we have to go and rename this one by one at a time. So let's go to the button in F. Select another button, G. Another button, H. So on until we rename all the 26 alphabets, and so on and so forth. We name everything to Y. The last row needs 6 buttons, so copy the Y over again, create a Z. There we go. Let's do a little bit of minor modifications to suit what we saw in the book. As per the book, the tree's height should be 220 pixels. So we'll go and fill up the height to be 220 pixels so that it looks the right height. The image mode aspect ratio should be aspect fit. It will show you the whole image. We got 5 buttons. And these buttons are equally spaced. In addition to this, the game requires us to have 2 labels at the bottom of the stack view. So let's add two labels here. Oh, it needs to be under the parent stack view. So I'm dragging the label directly under the parent stack view. Now we've got one label. Let's call it label word, and copy paste it, and we have another label. Click on the view hierarchy, copy the label word 2, and as per the book, the first label needs to have a font size. Go just click on the font and click on the font size to 30. It has to be a slightly bigger font. Done. Label word 2, it should be 20. Done. And oh, incidentally, they have come under the parent stack view. They should be under the child vertical stack view. So let's just move the labels to the right spot at the right place. If you're having trouble moving around the labels, you can just try to drag drop. And I was having a little bit of trouble with that, like this. So I had to move it around a little bit, like that, and puts it in the right stack, but it's in a different location, wrong location. To move it around, I had to select all the stack views and move them up so that the sequence is correct. I'd also set the height of the label to 60 pixels and 44 pixels. This is 60, and the second label's height is 44. This is as per the book. Now we got an uneven stack view here, so we'll do a fill equally. So we have the right, plus the label word 1 and 2 should be center aligned. So making it alignment center. Label 2 center, and that's about it. So that's the UI.